The Wladimir Klitschko Alex Leapai fight will be aired on Eurosport here in the UK and in the rest of Europe. And the reason I'm laughing is because Eurosport is a channel that tends to show the kind of sporting events which very few people want to watch. And I guess this fits right into that category. Eurosport tends to show obscure sports from around the world which only have a following in the particular country that they're taking place. Sometimes they don't even have a following there. But the one good thing about Eurosport, at least boxing on Eurosport, is Steve Holdsworth. Steve Holdsworth is my personal favorite boxing commentator in the UK. And a lot of people will be saying, who the hell is Steve Holdsworth? They've probably never heard him commentate before, but he's personally my favorite commentator because the guy's hilarious. He's always making sarcastic remarks about what's going on in the ring, and he's quite sarcastic, and some people would say disrespectful about the way he talks about the fighters, but he's very self-deprecating at the same time. He's a former fighter himself, and he makes jokes about his own boxing career and, you know, getting knocked out and all those kind of things. So he's just a very funny guy, sarcastic guy, and I guess he has to be that way because a lot of the fights that he commentates on Eurosport are some obscure fights between journeymen, and he has to try and entertain himself somehow. So the guy comes out with all this sarcasm and, you know, whatnot. And he's a bit of a legend. For those of you who know about Steve Holdsworth and you've watched a lot of Eurosport boxing over the years, you know what I'm talking about. The guy's a legend. He comes out with some hilarious one-liners, and just his informal style of commentary is just very entertaining. But unfortunately, whenever I've seen Steve Holdsworth commentate on some bigger fights, it's as if the producers or whatever have reined him in. It's as if they've put pressure on him to tone it down. Because again, some of the things he says about the fighters might be taken the wrong way, and he means it in a light-hearted way, but I guess some people might take offense and think he's a little bit disrespectful. But again, like I say, the guy's a former fighter himself, and he's equally as disparaging and self-deprecating as he is critical of other people. So, you know, for me, it's fine. It's cool. I mean, I hate trolls as much as the next person, you know, but Steve Holdsworth to me ain't a troll. He's just a sarcastic guy with a twinkle in his eye that's, you know, having a bit of fun. So I hope to see him on top form, or I hope to hear him on top form if he's commentating on the Klitschko Leapai fight. Right? We'll see if they allow him off the leash in the Klitschko Leapai fight. We'll see. I hope they do. Because you know, Lord knows that fight needs livening up. Apart from a lucky punch from somewhere, or, well, I don't want to say lucky, maybe a fortunate punch from Leapai, this fight is going to be awful, really. It's just going to be Wladimir Klitschko beating the crap out of some horribly overmatched opponent, similar to the Mormek fight. That's what it's going to be. I think Leapai might be a bit tougher than Mormek, possibly, maybe a bit stronger, but it's going to follow a similar pattern to that. Leapai's actually got less boxing skill and less speed than Mormek, if you can believe that. And Mormek was nearly 40 years old. I think he was 40 years old when he fought Wladimir Klitschko. So, yeah, the only thing about Leapai which I'll say could give Wladimir a problem, potentially, is his uppercut. And I would go as far as saying Leapai has the best uppercut in the heavyweight division. If you ain't seen it, go check out Leapai's uppercut. It is a tremendous shot that he has. But apart from that, there's nothing that Leapai does that's in any way impressive. He's only a short heavyweight. I believe he's about 6 feet tall. And unfortunately, for a 6 foot tall guy, he's very slow. You know, a lot of the time when you get these short heavyweights like Mike Tyson and, you know, Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier, one of the advantages they have over their taller opponents is they're usually faster in the hand speed department. Or in Joe Frazier's case, he had a much higher work rate than a lot of his opponents. Okay, but Leapai's not like that. Leapai's very slow. Slow hands, slow feet, telegraphs his punches. And like I say, the only shot he really throws impressively is the uppercut. I'm not saying his other punches are not powerful, but the uppercut is the one punch I've seen him throw which takes opponents by surprise. And he lands it with tremendous force. You don't see many heavyweights landing uppercuts the way Leapai does. So when he gets that uppercut on, especially against taller opponents, it can be particularly devastating. So that's all I'm looking out for really here in this Klitschko Leapai fight. I'm looking forward to Steve Holdsworth commentary. I hope they let him off the leash and let him be as sarcastic as he wants to be. And we'll see if Leapai manages to land that home run uppercut. I don't expect he will. I expect a easy title defense for Wladimir Klitschko, which is exactly what he wanted. And, you know, we'll see how it turns out, man. Drop your comments below. I know there's a few Wladimir fans who find me a little bit too critical of Wladimir Klitschko, but at the end of the day, I just say what I see, people. I don't have an agenda when I criticize fighters. Okay, if there's nothing there for me to criticize, I won't criticize. If I can only praise them, I will. But it's like I always say on my channel, no fighter is below praise and no fighter is above criticism. That's just the way I do it here. A lot of guys out there, a lot of fanboys, they get emotional when they hear criticism of a fighter they support. They get emotional. They don't use critical thinking and logic. They just come out with all this emotion. You know, it's unfortunate, man. But me, I'm just here to think critically and analyze everything critically. So if I'm being critical of Wladimir Klitschko, I have to be critical if he's doing things which demand criticism, which he does. Okay, he does a tremendous amount of things which demand criticism. So until he breaks out of that, then I can't really stop criticizing him, can I? That would be disingenuous. That would be turning a blind eye to the things that he's doing. So it is what it is. Anyway, drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this Leapai fight. Do you think he's got a bigger chance than I do? Let me know, man. I'm out.